Good morning, students. Today's topic is company organization. A company is a body corporate registered under the Companies Act. It is a legal entity created by association of persons to carry or to engage a business. So, under company form of organization, the liability of its member is limited. Generally, it has separate legal entity, means its entity is different from its members. So there are certain kinds of features of a company which are as follow. First one is incorporated association of person, means a company is registered association of person. Under the Companies Act, no individual can form a company. So companies are basically of two types: public companies and private companies. So to form public company, at least 7 members are required, and to form a private company, at least 2 persons are required. Next one is artificial legal person. Company is an artificial person because its existence is created by law. So it is artificial person because it is not visible like human beings. A company cannot perform physical actions like other ordinary human beings, but it has all the legal rights to proceed against anybody, means it can hold property on its own name, it can be sued, and it can sue also to other persons. Separate legal entity. Separate legal entity means the entity or the existence of company is separate and free from its members, means a company can own property in its own name and enter into agreements by its own name. It can file suit against the third parties, and outsiders can also sue the company. Next is perpetual succession. The life of company is comparatively more stable than all the other form of business organization because of its separate legal entity, means its existence will not be affected by the death, lunacy or bankruptcy of its members. Limited liability. Under company form of organizations, the liability of its member is limited to the extent of shares purchased by them, means in case of wound up of company, they will be held liable only up to that amount which is unpaid by the shareholders. But in case of companies having limited guarantee, their liability will be limited to the guarantee taken by members. Next one is common seal. Company being an artificial cannot put its signature because it has no hands. So the Companies Act has provided the right to use a common seal. Common seal is a special seal bearing the name of the company and which remains in the possession of its secretary only. So it is essential to have the common seal along with the signature of at least 2 directors as witness to give any document a legal charge. Transferability of share, means under partnership firm there are restrictions on the transferability of shares, but in case of company form of organizations, members can transfer their share freely from one person to another persons. These shares can be purchased in the open market also. Next is separation of ownership and management. As we know, in case of partnership and sole proprietorship, management and ownership of business organizations remains in the same hands. But in case of company form of organizations, management and ownerships are separate. Ownership remains with shareholders and management of company is conducted by board of directors. So, in order to run the affairs of the company, the shareholders elect members from themselves. So, the board of directors are the persons who manage the company. Next is risk bearing. Under company form of organization, a single person is not required to bear all the losses of the company. Instead, in case of company form of organizations, all the risks or losses are shared by all the shareholders in their holding ratio. Next are the merits of a company. First one is limited liability. As discussed earlier, in case of company form of organizations, shareholders' liability is limited to the extent of shares purchased by them. Unlike in case of sole traders and partnership firm, the personal assets of the members cannot be utilized to pay off the business liabilities of shareholders. Hence, the liability of shareholder is limited and they already know it. Next is share transferability. Any shareholder of a public company can transfer his shares freely without the approval of other members. As we know, in case of partnership firms, if a partner wants to transfer his shares, then he has to consult with the other partners. But in case of company form of organization, a shareholder can transfer his shares without approval from other members. Next is continuity. The existence of company is separate from its members, means the existence of company will not be affected by death, lunacy and bankruptcy of its members. Scope for growth and expansion. Due to larger capital investments, the scope for growth and expansion is large in case of company form of organization. Due to large funds, the companies can also hire expert persons for its affairs. And the last one is efficient management. The company can utilize the services of experts because of the availability of large resources. Efficient and experienced managers can play an important role in making the business successful by making use of modern managerial techniques. Next are the limitations of company organization. First one is difficulty in formation. It is very difficult to form company form of organizations because a lot of legal formalities are required for the formation of a company, like its registration is necessary and various documents are to be prepared by the promoters, like certificate of incorporation, certificate of commencement, etc. Next is lack of secrecy. So according to Companies Act, a public company has to go to publish its accounts and deposit many important documents with the registrar. So anybody can see these accounts after paying certain amount of fees. So it is very difficult to maintain secrets in case of company organizations. Next is lack of motivations. In the company organization, as we know, ownership and management are in different hands. Owners of the companies are shareholders and the management is in the hands of board of directors. So the board of directors appoint salaried peoples in order to give practical shape to the activities of the companies. These peoples certainly cannot work with that interest and enthusiasm with which the owners themselves do in case of sole tradings and partnership firms. Next is excessive government controls. The government makes rules and regulations for conducting these organizations. So the government interferes at large scale in company form of organizations. Next is delay in decision making. Quick decisions can be taken in case of sole trading and partnership firms only, but it takes very large amount of time to take decisions in company organization. It is because of existence of various levels of management and calling the meeting of directors if they want to pass any kind of resolutions. And the last one is conflict among investors. In the company form of business, there is a regular situation of conflict because of the clashing interest of the investors. The chief investors of the company include shareholders and debenture holders. As we know, shareholders are the real owners of the company and debenture holders are the creditors of the company. Shareholders want maximum profit, but debenture holders wants maximum rate of interest or timely payment of their interest. So due to clashing of interest, there are regular conflicts in case of company form of organizations. So next is difference between company and partnership. So company works according to the rules of Companies Act 2013, whereas in case of partnership firm, Partnership Act 1932 governs the rule of partnership firm. Next is formations. Company is established under law, means it is created by law, whereas partnership firm is created by an agreement among all the partners. Third one is registration. To form a company form of organization, its registration is compulsory, but the registration of partnership is optional. If partners get their partnership firm registered, then they can enjoy certain kinds of benefits. Next is number of members. To form a private company, minimum 2 persons are required, and the maximum number of persons will not exceed 200 in any case. Whereas to form a public company, minimum 7 persons are required, and there is no limit of maximum members. And in case of partnership firm, minimum 2 partners are required to form a partnership firm and maximum partners will not exceed 50 in any case. And second last is the liability. The liability of owners or the shareholder is limited in case of company form of organizations. Their liability is limited to the extent of capital investment or shares purchased by them. But in case of partnership firms, the liability of partners is unlimited. Next is separate entity. In case of company, the company has separate legal entity, that is, its existence will not be affected by its members. Whereas in case of partnership firms, partners and partnership firm are one thing. They have no separate existence from its members. So these were the points of distinction between partnership firm and a company form of organization. And the next topic is types of companies. So on the basis of transferability of shares, companies are basically of two types: private companies and public companies. First is private companies. So according to section 2 subsection 68 of Companies Act 2013, a private company means a company which by its article of association restricts the members to transfer their shares. Means in case of private companies, shareholders cannot transfer their shares to other persons. And also in case of private companies, the number of shareholders will not exceed 200 in any case, and minimum 2 persons are required to form a private company. and private company cannot invite public to subscribe for its shares and debentures, and they cannot invite the public to subscribe for its deposits, and it must have a paid up capital of 1 lakh rupees. So a private company has to follow all these rules. If at any point of time it violates any such rules, then it will be automatically converted into a public company. Also, a private company has to use private limited with its name. Next is public company. So like private company, a public company has to follow certain kinds of rules. So under public companies, minimum 7 persons are required to form a public company, and in case of a public company, members can freely transfer its shares from one person to another persons. And in case of public company, minimum paid up capital of public company must be 5 lakh rupees, and the company can also invite public to subscribe for its deposits and subscribe for its shares and debentures. And public company is required to use word limited with its name. Like in case of private companies, private limited word is used, but in case of public companies, limited word is used. For the establishment of a public company, there should be a minimum number of 7 members. So these were some of the characteristics of a public companies. So in the table 2, some of the examples of private sector companies are given, and some of the public sector companies are given. So next topic is one person company. So under Companies Act 1956, there are no provision for one person company, but due to several reasons, the Companies Bill 2012 was passed in Lok Sabha, which allows the formation of one person company. One person company is that company in which all the capital investments are made by single person. He is the sole owner of all the assets of the company. So what are the main reasons due to which one person companies are formed? First one is making the unorganized sector as organized. As we know, sole trading concerns are considered as unorganized form of businesses. So people don't trust unorganized sector, so they hesitate while providing loans to sole traders. So now sole traders has an opportunity to move from unorganized sector to organized sectors. Now sole traders can form a company without getting other people to join them. They can also get the benefits of organized sectors. Second one is stopping the formation of private company by wrong means. Initially, when a person wants to start a company, he was not in a position to start that company, because to start a company, minimum 2 persons are required. So he has to give some share to other persons to form a private company. But now a person can start individually by getting himself registered with the registrar. So in this way, a private company gets formed with the coming of 2 members together. Next is features of one person company. First one is only one person is required. As the name suggests, for the formation of one person company, only single person is needed. Any one person alone can get one person company registered and he start the business under his control. Next is status equal to a private company. The status of one person company is like any other private company. Appointment of a nominee. For the formation of one person company, its only member has to nominate some other person, because in case of death of that person, his nominee will continue the operations of the business. Joint holder. In one person company, only one person is the owner of all the shares of the company. But if two persons wish to become the joint holders of all the shares of the company, it can be done. In such a situation, those joint holders will be regarded as a single person. Next is special word with the name. Like if a person starts private company, if it is a private company, then private limited word is used, and if it is a public company, then limited word is used. But in case of one person company, word one person company must be used with its name. Next is number of directors. In one person company, generally the number of directors is generally one, but if the need arises, the number of directors can be increased to 15 members. Next is meeting of directors. For one person company, it is necessary to call meetings of directors twice in a year. But in case of one person, no such requirement of calling the meeting is required. Perpetual succession. Since it is necessary for one person company to get himself registered with the registrar, so it has perpetual succession. In case of death of the owner, his nominee will continue the operations of the company. Next is separate legal entity. That is, the existence of company is separate from its members. The company can have assets in its own name, it can sue other persons, and it can also be sued by outsiders. Next is formation of one person company. First one is giving separate name. First of all, the name of one person company is chosen. A person cannot start a one person company which is objectionable by the central government, or the name of one person company should not assemble with that of any other company. The company's separate legal entity is formed with the stage of one person company. Next is appointment of a nominee. In memorandum of association of one person company, one person is declared as the nominated person. A written consent of that nominated persons should be there on a standard form. It is submitted to the registrar along with the memorandum of association and article of association. Next is bearing one OPC with the name. So with the name of company, OPC word must be used. Next is depositing documents. The person or the owner has to register various kinds of documents with the registrar of the companies, like MOA, AOA and written consent of the nominated person. Certificate of incorporation. When the registrar of company is satisfied that all the necessary information required for registration is obtained, then he will issue certificate of incorporation. It is like birth certificate of the company. Next is advantages of one person company. First one is limited liability. As we know, in case of one person company, the liability of its owner will be limited to the extent of shares held by him. Good alternative of sole proprietorship business. Sole proprietorship business, because of unlimited liability, is a risky business organization. So one person company is coming up as it's a good alternative. Sole shareholder. In case of one person company, a single person is the sole owner of all the assets of the company. sole director. He himself direct all the operations of the company. So he is the sole director of the company. Entry in an organized sector. So with the help of formation of one person company, sole proprietor has the option of moving himself from unorganized sector to organized sector. So this opportunity will enable them to get the benefit of organized sector. Next is limitations of one person company. First one is more formalities. For the formation of one person company, there are a lot of legal formalities which have to be completed. Like the owner has to submit various kinds of documents like MOA, AOA, written consent of nominated person, etc. Shortage of resources. As we know, there is single person in the company and resources of a single person are always limited. Unbalanced decisions. Since a single individual has to control all the operations of the company, so and we know that a single person is not in a position to control all the operations effectively. So unbalanced decisions are there in the company.